So let's start with number 5. 5 talks about Hawkins Law. So we haven't talked about Hawkins Law during the lecture. This basically tells us is that there is an inverse relationship between unemployment, change in unemployment, and growth. So if we have growth here, and over here, if we are calculating change in unemployment, what we are going to see is a downward sloping pattern. That's Hawkins Law, but we don't really need to know Hawkins Law to solve this problem. Okay, so let's just go straight to the equation that's given. Unemployment minus unemployment from the previous period is equal to minus 0.4 growth of y, so growth rate, minus 3%. Okay. So part A. What is the sign of u minus 1 in recession? Okay, so what's happening in a recession? Output in the economy is falling. If output in the economy is falling, that means people are losing their jobs. So unemployment in this period must be higher than unemployment in the previous period because more people is losing their job. So in a recession, unemployment in this period is higher than unemployment in the previous period. Or you guys can of course put in the time subscript. So what that becomes is unemployment in period T is higher than unemployment in period T minus 1. They're both the same. Next part of the question, what is the sign in a recovery? So the economy was in a recession, now it's recovering. It started to create jobs again, outputs, production is going up, and so we are making a recovery. So if we've started to make a recovery, if output is going up, that must mean that more people are finding employment. So the reverse, so unemployment in this period must be lower than the unemployment that we had in the previous period. Or with the time subscript, you guys can write this UT must be less than UT minus 1, not 11, sorry. That's pretty straightforward. That's part 1. Okay, let's focus on part B. Explain where the 3% comes from. Okay, now that is interesting. So the equation that's given to us is this of y minus 3%. And the question is where, or rather what is the interpretation of this 3%? What is this 3%? Okay, so let's take a look at the entire equation and let's try to figure out what's going on. Okay, let me rewrite this as, okay, no need to rewrite this. What is happening is if growth of output is more than 3%, unemployment in this period, we have a minus here. Notice we have a minus here, minus. That means unemployment in this period is less than unemployment in the previous period. And if growth of output is less than 3%, then unemployment in this period is more than unemployment in the previous period, right? So these are the two scenarios, this and this. What that means, if you pause the video and think about it for a few minutes, what that effectively means is that, let me write this down. To maintain steady rate of unemployment, output has to grow at least 3%. Okay, what does that mean? Suppose unemployment is 4% in the economy. Just to maintain this 3% unemployment, forget about reducing unemployment, just to maintain this 4% unemployment in the economy, output has to grow by 3%. Why? Because few things. One, there is always a rise in population. So population growth. And the second is ability growth. So if the economy does not grow at all, previous year's unemployment was 4%, this year there is absolutely no growth, which means that the people who had jobs keep their jobs, people who did not have jobs uh, still do not have jobs, but population has grown. So a few people has retired. Suppose 100 people has retired, but there is 120 people looking for jobs. There is 100 vacancy, 100 people gets jobs, 20 people now, additional 20 people from previous year do not have jobs. And so unemployment is going to go up. Similarly, ability growth, the average skill level in the economy tends to rise. The average worker in 2020 in Bangladesh is more skilled, more educated, more knowledgeable than an average worker in 2010. And that also means that the same person can do more job. One person can do more job now than they could previously. And so if there is no growth, that means that there is higher unemployment in the economy. So that is what this 3% tells us, this 3%. This is the minimum growth rate that the economy needs to maintain a steady level of unemployment. If growth is more than 3%, unemployment will start to fall. And if growth is less than 3%, unemployment will start to increase. That's the answer to part B. Okay, let's move on to part C. Okay, in part C, we have to explain what the minus 0.4 means. So, okay, I'm going to write down the equation once again. U minus 1 equal to minus 0.4 gy minus 3%. And the question is, what is this? Once again, very interesting. Feel free to pause the video, think about it for a while. I'm sure at least half of you will be able to figure out what this is. Okay? So what this is, okay, take a look. Suppose, it's just an example. Suppose GY, growth of unemployment, growth of output is 3%. What that means is that we have steady unemployment. So unemployment this year is exactly equal to unemployment from the previous year. There's no change. If growth increase by 1%, okay? So GY now is 4%. More growth. What does that mean? Unemployment this year is less than unemployment from the previous year. We knew this already, but the question is, by how much? Output, growth in output has gone up by 1%. As a result, unemployment is going to fall by 0.4%. That's what this equation is telling us. Okay, so let's call this x, and let's try to understand this. If x is less than -1, that means that 1% change in growth rate of output leads to more than 1% change in output. If x is less than -1, so in this case, for example, it's 0.4, then a 1% change growth of output leads to less than 1% change. So in this case, for example, a 1% change in growth leads to a 0.4% change in output. And of course, if x is exactly equal to -1, a 1% change in output growth leads to a 1% change in unemployment. That's it. That's the interpretation. So notice that we had started off with this equation. We didn't really know what it was, what it meant, but now we understand what this 3% is. We understand what this is, and of course we know how to interpret unemployment and growth. And effectively, that is the Hawkins Law. It shows us the relationship between growth in output. Let's write that down. Growth in output and the subsequent change in unemployment. That was part C. Take a look at suppose the number of immigrants per year increases. What would change in Hawkins Law? Okay, so I'm going to write down this equation again. U minus 1. This is equal to minus 0.4 gy 3%. So I'm not going to solve this problem because once again, I'm sure all of you can figure this out on your own. So the question is, a lot of immigrants are coming into the US. What's going to happen? The immediate change that's going to happen is that there is going to be a rise in unemployment. Okay? Because there's more workers now, more people in the US. So unemployment this period is going to be higher than unemployment from the previous period. But what you guys need to think about is what will happen to these figures. Will there be any change to this? Will there be any change to this? Will there be any change to this? So just think about it, and I'm sure you guys can figure it out on your own. Okay. So these are the 3 problems that we are going to do from chapter 9. The assignment is question 1, 3, and 6. And also, please don't forget to at least try to solve number 4. Okay, I'm sure you guys, if you can do number 3, I'm sure you'll be able to do number 4. So good luck.